They're hot on the brakes. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically, the average ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Boncos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Boncos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. Hey, race fans, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to X Venture here on Twitch TV with week number 2 in season 33 plus 3, so season 36 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. I don't know why I was going back in time. Apparently in my head, we were stepping back to the, what was season 33? I don't even recall what vehicle we were driving 3 seasons ago. But here we are today. It is September 22nd, 2020, just to prove to you that I'm not traveling back to the past. And we are getting ready for racing action here today, which is probably one of my most anticipated weeks of the 5 that are on the schedule. Now, of course, I could be convinced another direction to be looking at week number 4, week number 5, as we get closer to the end of this one to figure out who the champion's going to be. But really, when I saw that we had Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe and Daytona Sport Car Circuit here in week number 2, that's one that I did the proverbial circle on the calendar because I was pretty darn exciting about that track combination. Now, we do have a few folks, to include Slow Motion Fire himself, the organizer of the Forza Spec Racing Series, who unfortunately are not going to be able to be out on the track here today for various reasons. So we are looking at a little bit of a smaller grid tonight. That is not to say, however, that we will be short of any excitement whatsoever. So go ahead, get yourself committed. It's Tuesday. What else do you have to do, right? No. It's Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning for you across the pond. And, strap in for 2 hours of racing. Grab yourself a drink, maybe something to snack on here as we watch the Bugatti EB110 get around the track. Again, starting with Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe first and then the Daytona Sport Car Circuit. I'm Dustin Moore, as always, here on the microphone. And, yes, the Forza Spec Racing Series, as heard on Forza Monthly yesterday. Ali Tack had mentioned that he had his eyes on the Forza Spec Racing Series because of the EB110. Ali, if you're watching, thank you so much for the shout-out there, and then, of course, for hanging out here with us and watching, and especially for you, of course, because it is very early in the morning for you. And hopefully you are enjoying this alongside all of the other viewers that we have here today. And if you do enjoy the content on throughout the broadcast, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the caster that you are enjoying your time here and that at least that much, that you're willing to click the follow button. And as soon as we go live from this point forward, you'll get the notifications if you have those set up, or at the very least, I'll be in your follow channels section whenever we do go live as you check out Twitch on your PC, your tablet, your mobile device, wherever you'd like to watch, on the go or comfortable at home. Taking a look at the standings there, AMS Udakan and RZM McQueen, they did split wins there in week number 1. Udakan picking his up out at Watkins Glen, then RZM McQueen out at Suzuka. However, because McQueen, who was leading the event out at Watkins Glen, had something go wrong. We didn't even catch it on the broadcast because he was so far out in front toward the latter portion of the race that all we knew is that he showed up in pit lane at some point, and that put him back to, I believe, 11th position, worked his way back up to 8th, and that was it for Watkins Glen. That was the best that he could put together there. And so with that, finds himself riding a good, 15 points behind AMS Udakan, who has 97, just falling short of a perfect week there. 100 points is the most you can get in any 1 week here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And then look at Audrex, 90 points there in week number 1. A stellar start for Audrex. Let's see if he's going to be able to continue with that momentum here in week number 2. Then you've got Cratrim with 85 points. Mesosphere, unfortunately, will be one of those drivers we won't see out on the track here tonight. CMB Slipstream, Carryout, Barney, Buck, Chaos Fox, Born as Ghost, Mortismo, AP1 Raccoon, Joe Beardy. You can read all the rest of the names. I don't have to sit there and rattle them off for you. And their standings there are top 20 in week number 1, or at least coming out of week number 1, heading into week number 2. Megamind 5823, hello to you and welcome. Thank you so much for saying hi there in the chat. Muertismo is here. Mateo Max, he's got it all figured out. He says 3, 2, 1, go. He's counting down for us. He was counting down for the I think it was the intro video, and then Big J Bishop, or Fear the Fun as we know him in the world of Xbox Live, saying that he was not, or that he is not going to make it here this evening as his allergies are killing him here today. So Big J Bishop, Fear the Fun will go ahead and either watch from the sidelines or just take the night off entirely. DWM Frog, hello to you as well. Thank you so much. And anybody else here who's watching the broadcast, very, very friendly here in terms of if you want to lurk, that's great. If you want to say hi there in the chat, that's fine too. And, of course, you've got any thoughts about the race here this evening, the racing, not just the one race, but we've got the race here at Le Mans and then out of Daytona. So the 2 races. Or if you've got thoughts on Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon 4, which just celebrated its 2-year anniversary yesterday, it was so-so in my opinion. I felt like they were high on the hype, pretty low on the delivery of what Season 2 ultimately result. And I don't know what I was expecting. I really didn't have high expectations, but I came out of Forza Monthly going, okay, all right. The best part by far of Forza Monthly was the rather lengthy but informative and super touching segment on Special Effect, the nonprofit organization in the United Kingdom, which puts together peripherals for disabled individuals, both youngsters and adults alike, so that they can play video games and enjoy gaming just like everybody else. It's such an important reminder and a great way to kind of put things into perspective about how fortunate a lot of us are. And, of course, some of us are dealing with our own ailments of some sort. But for the majority of folks who we can hold a controller in hand, we can move things around, we can touch all the buttons, how that little experience right there can be so, I guess, precious to somebody who can't physically do that. And so to have an organization, an association like Special Effect be able to put together control devices that allow those folks to enjoy gaming is, man, to see the smiles on those kids and those adults' faces was heartwarming, heart-wrenching, and just in a year in 2020 that has been pretty crappy, to see that as part of Forza Monthly was a nice little, I think, pick-me-up for the Forza community. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I at least was very appreciative of that little segment there. That was fantastic. So kudos to the folks over at Turn 10 Studios, Playground Games, who work with entities like Special Effect, and of course that stretches on to the Xbox family at large, and then Microsoft. Hopefully we'll see more of that moving forward. Accessibility, because when you talk about diversity and inclusion, it's not just diversity and inclusion of thought and ethnicity and all of the other protected groups, but it's also inclusion and diversity in folks who, while they don't have the same abilities, have the same passion, the same drive, the same desire to enjoy games like everybody else. So I know I'm going on a long tangent with that. Not so much a tangent as it is just kind of a soapbox, but really as we kick things off here tonight, I think it's a nice little thing to consider and remind ourselves with. All right, so there you go. There's a look at the standings. You've seen those long enough. Let's go ahead and throw the schedule up there as they get ready to go racing out here, qualifying out at Le Mans. Excuse me here, as we've got way too many graphics going. There you go, just the one. Season 36 schedule. We had Watkins Glen and Suzuka last week. We've got Le Mans happening right now. The qualifying is getting underway as I speak. We'll flip to that in here in just a second. Daytona Sport Car Circuit, that'll be the race that follows Le Mans here tonight. And then 1 week from tonight, heading out to Spa and Sebring. All right, let's go ahead and jump on over to the racing action, the qualifying action here in Forza Motorsport 7. And whether you've got it for the Xbox One or the PC, you too can take part in the Forza Spec Racing Series, one of the longest running community-based league series, whatever you want to call it, in the Forza community. And it's happening here tonight. And it happens pretty much every Tuesday night. Even when the seasons have concluded, let me bring the volume down. Even when the seasons have concluded, they have off-season activity for you to stay engaged and have a good time. And perhaps maybe if you're just desiring some social interaction in a socially distant world right now, well, get yourself hooked up with the Forza Spec Racing Series family, and they'll welcome you in with open arms. Because I believe we've got a couple of new gamer tags here tonight, at least one, out on the track with us here in week number 2, which is great because in week 2, week 1 is your drop week then. If you're joining here in week 2, week 1 is your drop week. You're in the running for the championship all the way through the rest of the season. You just got to be on your A game from weeks 2 to 5. Here comes Yorkie Man into the first of the 2 chicanes here on the Mulsanne Straight. And what a familiar track for those of you who may have been watching either the Le Mans eSport event that happened last week or the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the real-world event that happened over the weekend. Very familiar track here as they come charging in the EV110 down toward that second chicane. 587 horsepower, 461 foot-pounds of torque in the EV110, which weighs 2,886 pounds. And you see RZM McQueen there ghosting through Yorkie Man's car, and he's going to go ahead and charge on down to the Mulsanne corner. It's qualifying here in the virtual world, so they're able to get into this ghosted mode where they don't make contact with one another. It allows them to try to set their best lap on each lap, and it looks like they're only going to do two times around Circuit de la Sarthe here in qualifying. So even that much more interesting. You'll have the one standing start, which we're on right now, followed by the one flying lap. You only get the one flying lap to try to set your quickest clean time as well, because you set a dirty lap, well, that's not going to fare well for you here in the grid ordering. And the last thing you want out here at Le Mans is to find yourself at the very back of the pack. Again, we don't have as many drivers as we normally do. It looks like we've got 16 in here this evening. Maybe we'll pick up one or two more out of qualifying, as we see McQueen go sliding off here coming up to Indianapolis. And so McQueen, who is typically on point, a little rusty here early on in the qualifying session. He's got the flying lap, though, to put it all together. Out of Arnage, coming up to the Porsche corner, Porsche curve. Yorkie Man, he's going to slide it all over the place. I don't know if surely the tires aren't still cold. They've got to be warmed up by now. And out of what was previously known as the Corvette corners, I don't know that they are anymore. Now out of that and up to the series of S's here before the start-finish line. And McQueen, he'll try to set it up nicely. Now, of course, here in Forza Spec, in Forza Motorsport, that last sector before the start-finish line, you've really got to keep it clean, because if you dirty the last sector of the previous lap, come across the start-finish line, you're going to find that triangle with the exclamation mark still up next to your time to indicate that you are still on a dirtied lap as a result of what you did in the last sector. So probably keeping his eye on in between the lines, coloring within the lines there on that final bit of the Le Mans Circuit de la Stars circuit. And now going to try to set a quick time. Here comes Brazaus now out of those Ford chicanes. He's got AMS Udacan, our leader right now, with 97 points coming out of week number 1. Brazaus in the L'Oreal Paris design EV110. And it seems to me the theme for this this season actually is just kind of maybe real life sponsor, like real life companies. No special theme here as Brazaus goes ahead and kicks up the dust a little bit. Off into the kitty litter. Coming up to the Dunlop curves. And now underneath the bridge. AP1 Raccoon. And actually, let me see if I can't. That's the player focus. Let me give you the stats here, which should tell us who has the quickest time right now. AMS Udacan with a 4-minute and 2-second .537. And so we'll see what everybody is able to do. Brazaus still having trouble. I don't think those Forza Motorsport banners were up there this year. I don't know that Forza, Microsoft, Xbox, I don't know if they sponsored the 24-hour of Le Mans this year. There was the esports side, but I don't recall any of the Forza signage around the track here this year. Slipstream there with a bumper sticker on the back end of the Bugatti that says, if you can read this, bump draft me. I know I gave you guys the warning last week that Twitch was experimenting with mid-roll ads, just kind of willy-nilly, like there was no, I don't know, gosh, I'm missing some graphic overlay stuff here. There we go. They've done away with that here. They did like a 1-week test, and now it's over. So you should not see any mid-roll ads until we get to our very specific ad break in between races. So you should be able to enjoy all of tonight's racing action ad-free. And for those of you who wish to go above and beyond and support the channel, Twitch Prime, your free Twitch Prime monthly subscription, or a monetary subscription is greatly appreciated. It helps secure ad-free viewing the entire time. You'll get the emotes and the feeling that, hey, you help support a streamer within the racing genre here, the racing directory of Twitch TV. If you can't, completely understandable, and a follow will suffice. Here comes Slipstream now out of the Porsche corner underneath the Michelin signage there, and now we'll get a nice head-on look here on the front end of the Bugatti on the backside, and now off the grass, kicked up the dirt just a little bit. Keeps the other two tires within the line, so that should be okay. And we'll see if Slipstream actually has one of the quick times, because all the drivers before him who have crossed the line, although there's not many of them right now. McQueen actually now with a 4:01.590. And let's see what everybody else is able to manage. Is Slipstream in the running? He is not. At least not on pole coming out of qualifying here. So because it is Le Mans, such a sprawling track, they've opted for 2 qualifying laps. We will not have the third, and it will be 8 laps. 8 laps of racing coming right up. And if everything is sorted correctly here within Forza, that should be McQueen on pole AMS Udakan will be on row number 1 opposite of McQueen. Then Audrex in row number 2 with Cratrium. Then Slipstream and Buck, 5th and 6th, respectively. Then Barney and Modern Weapon in row number 4. Then row 5 goes to Grim and Yorkie Man. Then it'll be Born as Ghost and Raccoon, Sprizaus and Mortismo in row 7. Then Fox Jason D and AC Vogue? Vogue? 89? I'm probably completely messing that up. My apologies, but that would be one of our new gamer tags out on the track here this evening. And at some point, it's Vogue 89, who is getting around the track. Very late start, apparently. Trying to set a final time. I don't know. Depending on what they have the timer, the end race timer set at, I don't know if Vogue is going to make it back. Just now approaching Indianapolis. We'll go ahead and put our camera back there. And just kind of putting around the track at this point, maybe waiting for the end race timer. Sporting one of those No Coast Brewing Company liveries. Those are always fun to see out on the track. And having trouble there. That might just do it here for the qualifying session. We'll go ahead and back out. And as soon as the lap times are recorded, we'll go ahead and take a look at those. And we'll see if any of our drivers, if you want to have a chat, you know where to go. Head on over to the FM4 Discord, which you should already be in. Then go to that Queue for Interview channel. That's what you need to have a little chit-chat with me before we get ready for the 8 laps around Circuit de la Sarthe. And it looks like the end race timer still has not. Oh, it's going 30 seconds or so. And they'll all jump out. Let's go back to the standings as a reminder of where things are coming into week number 2. Amos, Huracan, and Queen picking up the wins. Audrex, again, having a spectacular showing in week number 1. If he can keep that up, this could be one of his best chances to have a go at the championship in recent memory. And I don't know, I'd have to go look into the history book of the Forza Spec Racing Series to know if Audrex has won a season in FM4, as they call themselves. Let me go take a look. Let me go have a gander. Has Audrex won a season? I don't see a name in the championship column. I don't. So Audrex looking for that very elusive and highly sought after, at least amongst the guys and gals of the Forza Spec Racing Series, a championship here. And it doesn't matter. I mean, even if you're not uber competitive and even if you don't have a chance against some of the other drivers that are in the league, that's okay. That's completely all right. They love having drivers in here who are, A, either just looking to have a good time but can race clean, or for those drivers who are most certainly looking for a little bit of competition to test their skills, their ability. And because it is a new car every single season, a different car every single season, with a setup that is put in place by the organizers, and then there are a few little stipulations, a few little rules that you have to abide by, it makes it that much more exciting because I can't really think of one single season where we have raced in a vehicle that is one of those leaderboard cars or one of those very popular vehicles amongst the Forza community to compete in. No, these are some of the lesser known, or at least lesser driven cars of the game. And so how well can you do in those when pitted up against drivers of varying skill and ability, talent? RZM McQueen with that 401. That'll put him on pole. LSCM Barney with a 409. Then you've got Yorkie Man with a 409 dirty. So Yorkie Man we saw go off the track on lap number 1, was not able to do any better on lap number 2. That'll put him at the back of the pack. CMB Slipstream with a 405 745. Audrex with a 403, which, again, will be good enough for row number 2. With Cratrium at 404 186. LSCM Buck with that 407 457. AMS Udakan will be on row number 1 with that 402 537. And then, of course, you see the trials and tribulations of Le Mans weighing on Sperzaus, AP1 Raccoon, Born as Ghost, Mortismo, all dirty laps ranging from 408 to 409 to 412. And then you've got Modern Weapon with a 408 588, but able to keep it within the lines. That'll be a clean lap, putting him on row number 4 or 5. Grimm with a 421, slow, but clean. So it's really all about the approach. 419 dirty there by Fox Jason D, and AC Vogue, or Vaj, 89 with a DNF. And we saw there on lap number 1, I don't even know if he was able to get across the line there on that first lap, but that's okay. Again, do your own thing out here. As long as you can race clean, that's all they ask of you. And then you're welcome back week after week. I take a look over here at the driver's spotlight. Nobody's in there. Everybody being very shy right now. Of course, we get most of our drivers willing to chat after the racing has concluded each night. So we'll stand by. We'll keep it open for them. Just like Tom Bodette and the Motel 6 family. We'll leave the light on for you there in the driver interview queue. I think that's his name, right? Tom Bodette? Something like that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go back to that schedule, because I do want to talk about what's ahead here, what remains, and yes, we've got plenty of racing. I mean, we're only kicking off week number 2 here this evening, but a week from tonight, on Tuesday, September 30th, that marks the midway point here in season 36. At least once race number 5 is done, or the first race of that evening out at Spa. Then we'll start the back half with Sebring full. And then jumping into the month of October, 2 weeks from tonight, it'll be Circuit de Catalunya Grand Prix and then Road America full. That's a pretty good combination there, too. That's a pretty good combination. The drivers who successfully guessed what vehicle it was that was going to be raced here in season 36, they did a heck of a job then also picking tracks. Kudos to them. As a matter of fact, as I look through the list here, we don't have one single fictional track. Now we're talking. Monza there is where we'll close things out on Tuesday, missing a comma there, October 16th. Monza for 45 laps. That's the alternate version, so that means no chicane there right after that start-finish line to help keep things not only clean but pretty speedy as they'll come roaring back toward the start-finish line out of that final right-hander there at Monza, and hard charge into Curva Grande, I believe is what turn number 1 there is out at Monza. All right, so all of our drivers getting readied up here, and it does seem as if we've picked up an extra driver or two. Mortismo says, ready to roll. AMS Unicon says, hit spectate. Oh, sorry, I did, and I think then they reloaded or something. So I was ready, and then something changed, and it unreadied me up. But now we're good. I appreciate it. They're letting me know it. Oh, and here comes Born as Ghost with the subscription. Thank you so much. Tier 1, 3 months, Born as Ghost. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Far too kind. Let's go ahead and put our camera on Amos Idakon, who will be on row number 1 opposite of RZM McQueen, who sits on pole. And the pole sitter dictates the start of these races. So you'll get the countdown, the normal countdown within Forza Motorsport 7. They'll stay in their spot, and it won't be until RZM McQueen starts to pull off the line that everybody else can go. It's an extra perk, an added perk for qualifying first, but then also it allows us, in terms of the spectator view, to be able to see the race from the start, since Forza Motorsport 7 has that weird little glitch where normally we wouldn't see it if they went off of the Forza Go. All right, here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here at Le Mans, Circuit de la Sarthe for week number 2, season number 36 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS Udakan off the line, back behind RZM McQueen, who qualified out on pole position, up toward the Dunlop curve and then the bridge. Here they go. AMS Udakan keeping it nice and tidy along the curbing there, and then he's going to put 2 wheels off onto the runoff area before they make the hard charge down the corners and into the swooping left-hander. You got a little bit of camber to work with before it starts to flatten out here, getting close to the Mulsanne straight. AMS Udakan's going to go ahead and punt one of those cones right off the track, and now hitting the Mulsanne just as quickly as we've started. Here we start the charge down the backstretch, down the Mulsanne straight. Here in week number 2, AMS Udakan's going to look to the, this is going to be inside as they come up to the first chicane here on the back straightaway that was put into place several years back for the 24 hours of Le Mans to help slow things down, bring these cars to a relatively safe pace as opposed to blowing on all the way down the Mulsanne. And here comes McQueen well onto the inside, almost getting all 4 tires on the outside of that line, and he does in fact do that. Coming out of that first chicane, you got to be careful a little bit. The Forza Spec Racing Series, they do allow you to kind of take liberty with the track limits, but you do it too many times, they'll slap your wrist and they'll say cut it out, otherwise we're going to have to assess a penalty on you next time through. And now up toward the second chicane they come. Here comes Udakan. He's going to be looking to the outside and sees that McQueen's got that inside line on lock, and so he can't do anything except for stay on the backside here. And now up to the Mulsanne corner they come. It's going to be a hard charge, and then you really throw those brakes on. Probably one of the harder braking sections here at the corner. As a matter of fact, you look at the track map, and it's almost a 90-degree right-hander. It's so darn sharp. And there goes Udakan. He's going to try to make the pass, and he just can't do it as McQueen holds on, uses that momentum, carrying it out toward the curbing, ropes it back into the inside line, or at least the midpoint of the track, and puts his back end, that back bumper right there in front of AMS Udakan. Now down toward Indianapolis they come. And this is where we saw McQueen get a little squirrely during qualifying. He seems to be much better through this time by, and he's going to avoid the dirt trap on the right-hand side. You do want to avoid that, otherwise that's a slog to try to get out of there. There's Drex, who's 2nd overall on the leaderboard, 3rd in the race. Now, underneath the Porsche signage, up towards the Porsche corner, lap number 1 of 8, that 9th one that you see there in the upper left-hand corner, that'll just be a cool-down lap, so pay no mind to that. And now here they come. Let's see where Udakan's going to try to make a move, if he tries to make a move. 8 laps. You've got plenty of time. No real need to push the issue this early on. And actually, he's going to go wide, which sends him well off into the runoff area. Unfortunately, that's all asphalt out there. DWM Frog there in the chat saying this is going to be an exciting battle between these two, and it will. We're going to keep our camera on it for right now as they come up to the Ford corners, and with the Forza race regulations turned on, that gets rid of all those tire barriers. It looks like AMS Udakan maybe taking a little bit too much of a shortcut there through the corners. He remains on the backside of McQueen, so no real reason for us to shake the finger there. And now up toward the Dunlop Bridge once again, lap number 2. Let's go ahead and ride on board here. Let's take a ride, at least through the first portion, the first half of Circuit de la Sarthe here with Udakan. side by side, and just like that, AMS Unicon is going to make the move. And let's see if McQueen's going to be able to take it back. He does not. As a matter of fact, it's quarter panel and nose panel making contact up along the guardrail. Fortunately, there was no tire barrier there. Otherwise, that would have slowed at least one of them down. And now it's going to be AMS Unicon who comes away here on the backside of the midpoint of the Mulsanne Straight with first place. How long can that stand? Who knows? But very well done, if not a little bit aggressive, very early on in this race. And of course, it's not done yet. Ghibli Giblet saying that was a cool shot there on the straight. Yeah, every once in a while, Forza has its moments with the replay, well, not the replay camera, but the cinematics, I guess. We could use some better TV-like views more often than not. Now here, out of the Mulsanne corner, McQueen right there on the back bumper of Huracan, letting them know that you haven't got rid of me yet. Not yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the X-Venture rewind. Just the latter half of that there where they made contact, and fortunately that wasn't as bad as it could have been. And I said there were no tire, not a tire barrier there. There actually was. They avoided the guardrail and tire wall altogether, saving them both from disaster, because an incident at that part of the track would have meant a long trip back toward the pit lane and would have, without a doubt, put them both in a bad position here for this race early on in season number 36, as Audrex just kind of waiting back there, keeping his eye on the action. He's in third position. That's Kratrum in fourth. LSEM Buck in fifth. Slipstream in sixth position with Borna's Ghost right on his tails in eighth. It's LSEM Barney, then Foontang. Modern Weapon in 10th. Then, from 11th on back, it's AP1 Raccoon, Yorkie Man, Fox Jason D, Grim, Akvogue, Mortismo, Sprizaus, 11th through 17th. Unicon now with a little bit of breathing room here, as McQueen going to go ahead and use as much of the runoff area as he can now through the chicanes here. You see people in the grandstands. Obviously a very different situation during the 24-hour of Le Mans race over the weekend, and hopefully those of you who are watching us here are staying healthy throughout this pandemic. And here we go, lap number 3. And let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle. I was going to say telemetry, and now I've completely botched our view here. We see 82% in the fuel tank, just barely getting a little tire degradation out front, although it should be a bit more of a factor as the race goes on. Now let me see if I can't get us the rest of our information, all the rest of the info that we need. There's that. There's our map. Whew. Saved. Back down the Mulsanne for the third time. This is where Huracan made the move a lap ago, about 4 minutes ago. That's how long it takes them to make a lap around Circuit de la Sarthe. S800 is the performance index for the EV110 here, at least the way that they have them set up. Race oil and cooling, race homologation restrictor plate. That's your engine and power upgrades. Then in the platform and handling, it's race brakes, race springs, race front and rear roll bars, with a sport weight reduction that brings it down to 2,886 pounds. Then in the drivetrain, it's a sport drive line with a race differential. Race and rims, tire and rims are of the race tire compound variety with sport rims. There's Speedline 859s, and I don't have the dimensions on those. I forgot to get those. As yes, RZM McQueen making the pass there as they run through the upgrades. So AMS Udakan going to go ahead back to second position, tentatively. And then a race front bumper, allowing them to make adjustments to the vehicles, either cornering or top speed, depending on which direction they want to go with it. And man, what a track to decide. I'm guessing they're leaning heavily toward the top speed here out at Le Mans as they go back toward Indianapolis once again. And let's see if we can't get that back on the replay here. Did I catch it in time or no? Did not. We'll try to peel away and go take a look at the action a little bit further back here once we get to a point where I feel like maybe they're going to go ahead and take a breather, these two, as there goes Udakan for, I don't know, at least the second time. We've seen him take that line well outside the painted white line and up toward the blue concrete barrier. He's going to go ahead and step out onto the blue paint, at least with two tires. Now lines it up here for the chicane. RZM McQueen with 3, maybe even 4 tires there, coming out of the first bit of S's, now into and out of the second, and across the line, beginning of lap number 4. With Udakan hot on the heels. Let's go back to 4th position with Krejcim, who's just not been able to get around Drex here in that Swordfish Motorsport painted up EB110. Drex with the Ryzen, AMD Ryzen Bugatti. It still makes me feel weird when I say Ryzen. I know that's the proper pronunciation, but I don't know. Ghibli Giblet says, if I had a Bugatti to race, I'd like my sponsor to be a toilet paper company. I would need plenty of these with these visceral beasts flying around me. If I owned a Bugatti, I probably wouldn't be racing. That's the beautiful thing about the virtual world of motorsport, is that you can take automobiles that from their pristine condition and you can rough them up here without any real hesitation or concern, because as soon as you get out of that race, it's going to be all polished up, shiny and new for you. All the dents will be digitally popped out. All the paint will be fresh and glossy. Once you're back in the lobby, it's amazing. Amos Udakan still there in second with RZM McQueen. RZM McQueen, I believe, showed up late in season number 35, which was the VW Scirocco, and that season won by Amos Storm, who is not out here tonight. And I think RZM McQueen was able to steal some points from a few drivers in that race with his participation, or with those last few races, and now is going to try to turn what was a pretty good ending to season 35 into a championship in season 36. Here comes Udakan now to the inside out of the Mulsanne. When you take that low line, it doesn't allow you to carry as much speed as you could if you were to hit the apex and then trail it out toward the curbing like McQueen does. Of course, Udakan just looking for any opportunity to make a pass, so sometimes you do have to change up your driving line. And now let's see here as they come up to the hard right-hander. Careful for that tire barrier. That tire barrier exists in the real world and in the virtual world here, and it's it is a disaster waiting to catch you. Much better than hitting the guardrail head on, but either one is going to drastically change your race. Over Drift King, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. And Megamind, I think I mentioned you earlier. Thank you for the follow. Sportsboy141, thank you for the follow. And Tora Live. Holy smokes, I didn't know that you guys weren't even following me. Tora Live with the follow. Make sure y'all catch the 10 hours of road Atlanta? I think they've got coming up a charity event. Go over to racetora.com for all the information on the Online Racing Association and what they're doing. Here they come out of the final right-hander up toward the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 5. And it's still going to be RZ and McQueen, AMS Unicon, who are out here 1 and 2 respectively, at least for right now. AMS Unicon was leading for 1 lap, and just like that, he goes ahead and does a slide job into turn number 1, grabs the top spot, and he'll be in there, at least for now. Can't say that he'll make it sting for the remainder of this race, because with 4 laps remaining, anything can still change, especially out here at Circuit de la Sarthe. But man, was that just a move? And there goes RZ McQueen. That might just have done him in there as he slides it out down the hill, able to make a pretty Oh my gosh, how did my microphone go away? I don't even know how that happened. When was the last time I talked to you guys? I've been sitting here talking this entire time. Over Drift King, I don't know if my mic was off. Thank you for the follow. Megamind, Sportsboy141, Tora Live. I might just be repeating myself if you guys happen to hear that. I don't know why my microphone was off, but I'm back. I promise you, I'm alive. Man. Thank you, Frog. I don't know when it stopped, but you cut out right when the driver went wide. Oh. Oh, that's what it was. I was trying to hit the replay button, and I accidentally hit my mic button. No wonder why the replay didn't work. I hit the wrong dang button. Pro Streamer. Here we go. Indianapolis is born as Ghost with Slipstream out in front of him. Born as Ghost who, oh, and into the tire wall goes Born as Ghost. I was just about to say what a great run he's having, because he's currently 11th overall on the leaderboard. And fortunately, no severe damage to that car as he went head into the tire wall coming through the Mulsanne corner. He very lucky. I mean, the tire wall can be forgiving in Forza Motorsport in the sense that sometimes it doesn't give you any damage to your vehicle. unless they just have damage turned off altogether here in this race, which I wasn't aware that they were going to do. But I'm guessing that's not the case. I don't know. I suppose it's possible. That's what they decided. Let's go back to McQueen here in second. I was only muted for, okay, only for a minute. Well, a lot of things happened there in a minute. Of course, some of you guys are probably like, oh gosh, thankfully, he's not talking anymore. So McQueen, who looked to have maybe ruined the race, at least his odds of coming out on top last lap through this very section, has had a pretty good recovery. And is pressing on. Good news. His other vehicle, it's a Dacia Sandero. That's probably why. That's probably why he's okay. McQueen with 87 points coming out of week number 1. Huracan's 97. So McQueen definitely could use a strong performance here in week number 2. Of course, he needs to do better than McQueen, or excuse me, than Huracan. Let's go ahead and, gosh, let's go back to Cratrim, who's just not been able to make a move. I don't think he's stepped out in front of Audrex even once at this point, although he's in proximity. Up to the second chicane here on the Mulsanne straight. Then you've got the little bendy bit here, the right-hander. Have commentated a lot of great races out here at the virtual Le Mans circuit. I've hosted a 2.5-hour Lemons race, which was fun. A lot of fun with that one for the Mileage Masters. A Mileage Masters event. And then a 2.5-hour Le Mans event. It's just a great track and one that's been with the Forza series for some time now. I don't think it was a part of the original title, but instead maybe appearing with Forza 2 or Forza Motorsport 3. What's up there, Sober David? Good to see you. So Cratrim still not able to close in on Audrex yet. Let's go back up to McQueen, who has closed the gap between he and Huracan about 2 EB110 lengths. Oh, and there goes Huracan. Going to go ahead and step the back end. Oh, and he's going to do it again. Gets into the grass. And look at this. Oh, McQueen. Going to go ahead and harass Huracan on his back bumper. And here they go side by side into the 4 chicanes and out toward the start-finish line. Beginning of lap number 7, it's going to be Huracan out in front. McQueen in second. My, oh my. Unrelated to this, but I hope you got your airplane issues all sorted. I have, Sober David. As a matter of fact, I hope to do maybe some flight simulator on Sunday. I know I keep saying that. Oh, and there goes Huracan. It wasn't a punt. It kind of looked like a punt, but I assure you it wasn't. It wasn't as drastic as it looked. That was embellished a little bit by the camera view. I think that was Huracan who got tapped and then just said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and run off the side of the track here and then bring it back in. A lot of just rubbing his racing type contact between these two. Nothing egregious at this point. Lap number 7, so 1 3/4 of lap to go. 8 laps here for race number 3 of season 36 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm Dustin Moore. Thank you all so much, very much for tuning in here this evening. What a day. What a day. I wasn't trying to reserve myself an Xbox Series S or Series X here today, but saw plenty of the commotion on Twitter. And then, of course, that was preceded by the announcement yesterday, very early in the morning, might I say, that Microsoft has acquired the studio that is known for publishing games like Fallout. I've completely lost their name. Who is it? How could I possibly have forgotten what their name is? I mean, it was all the rage in terms of the Xbox world yesterday before today's pre-order for the next generation console. Oh, there goes McQueen. Another little love tap. I know we've been watching a lot of these two here in this race, but man, when you've got action like this, it's kind of hard to turn your head away. It's like a car accident, you know? You hope everybody's okay, but you just can't stop looking. And so here we are doing just that. Audrex in 3rd, Cratrim in 4th, Slipstream in 5th, with Barney in 6th, Born as Ghost in 7th, and it's Foontang, Yorkie Man, and Raccoon rounding out the top 10. And 11th, it's Modern Weapon, LSCM Buck, and Fox Jason D back there in 13th, Mortismo in 14th. And here goes McQueen to the inside, out of Indianapolis. And boy, is that a place to make a move. You don't see it often through that corner. He's going to try to make it stick, and now he's going to have to bring it back in, try to do a little switcheroo action here on Uticon. Not going to make it happen there. And here on the final mile of lap number 7, we'll see how it goes heading across the line for the final lap in the last remaining 4 minutes in this race. ZeniMax, who oversees the studio, which still... Todd Howard, like, why is this eluding me? Somebody help me. Bethesda, thank you. Oh, you said, oh my gosh, you guys have already said it a long time ago, and I'm just now catching up with the chat. I'm sorry. It's just the action here is so good on the screen, and I wasn't able to look 5 whole comments up, apparently. All right, here they come out of the final chicane here for the last time, or the penultimate time, I should say, not the last time, because here we go. Down the front straightaway they come, side by side. It's going to be McQueen to the inside here through what I guess they were calling the PlayStation corner during the 24-hour of Le Mans. And now up to the Dunlop chicane with Audrex still back there in 3rd, McQueen in 1st now. Uticon in 2nd, Cratrim in 4th. I know, I just like saying the order all discombobulated. Keep up with me. And now, out onto the Mulsanne here. Full throttle. It would sound as if they barely, if at all, let up, which is a surprise to me, because if I went through their full throttle, be nothing but remnants of sheet metal and roll cage. There goes McQueen. He has that inside line really locked down, because he knows Uticon's had a tendency, a propensity for trying to make the pass there. He's done it once, didn't do it this time, and now here they go. Mid-portion of the Mulsanne. AMS Uticon well wide. Coming out of that final chicane now up to the Mulsanne corner. really applying those brakes. They are upgraded to the race brakes here in Forza Motorsport 7. Hooking to the right-hander. There goes AMS Unicon. A little bit of a dive bomb in there. Using the passenger or maybe even the driver's door side panel. I can't remember which side of the wheel the car is on, or which side well, okay, it's on the left-hand side. So that was the passenger side door panel. And AMS Unicon goes ahead and gives McQueen the position back. And I say gives, but might have been not so easy for McQueen to take it back, as they now go up toward Indianapolis here for the final time. Let's go ahead and take a look back at that on the X-Venture Rewind. Pressing the right button this time. Whew, thankfully. Up to Porsche. One by one, out of the corners they come. McQueen is still out in front. Here comes Unicon, who's got a couple more corners to make it happen. He gets off into the grass once again. That puts him into the passenger door side panel, and he spins it out, coming out of the Ford curves, or coming up to the Ford curves. McQueen's going to go ahead and slow it down for a little bit, but I don't know. That's really not necessary, as McQueen will go ahead and continue on. AMS Unicon catches back up into the final two S's. It'll be Unicon now to the outside. He's going to take a lot of liberties there through the chicane, and he's going to have to drop back. Otherwise, he'll suffer the fate of the black flag. And now across the line, hot diggity! It's McQueen going back-to-back Suzuka. Then Lamar. Back to fourth. Audrex has fallen back. Craitrim is making the move. And now the Ryzen car, which was in third position for so long, in fourth. Go back to fifth. It's Slipstream. Let's go to seventh with Born as Ghost. Born as Ghost well off of the track, almost flirting with the beach. The sand over there, and now able to bring it back on is Born. But yes, a great run here, especially by Born, who was into the tire wall, I believe at Arnage, and now still able to come out with a top 10 win across the line. Well done, sir. Eighth looks to go to Funtang. Let's go to 10th with AP1 Raccoon. And that's where he's going to finish out. No opportunity to get to 9th or 8th. And there you go. LSEM Buck in 12th. Let's go to Modern Weapon in, LSEM Buck in 11th. Let's go to Modern Weapon in 12th. He's driving that throwback Pepsi car, or the throwback Pepsi livery, the Crystal Pepsi. You can tell it's throwback not only by the older logo, but that Crystal Pepsi. I don't know. I know somebody used to produce it and make it available, but I don't even know that they do that anymore. Here comes in 13th position Fox Jason D, and then back behind him, quite a ways back, is going to be Mortismo, not having a good run here at Le Mans. In 14th, Sprazales in 15th, Grimm in 16th, and then I'm going to just call him Ack here for the rest of the night. Back there in 17th, which does mean that all 17 drivers who started the race here today are out there on the track. There you go, folks. Well, man, week 3, that's nothing to shake a stick at, huh? That was pretty darn exciting. Wow, wow, wow. Does not get much more exciting. Great race 1 and 2, says DWM Frog. Indeed, Erdicon there in the chat saying, well, he the Pog face, the Pog champ, and then says, hope that was fun to watch. It most certainly was. Good show. Good show indeed. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take note of where everybody finished. We're going to take an ad break. Yes, We are going to take an ad break. It helps our viewers who might be joining us a little bit later on avoid the pre-roll so they can get right into the racing action alongside the rest of us. And I promise you, you're not going to miss anything. I'm just going to take note of where everybody finished. We'll hop out. We'll see if anybody wants to talk to us in the driver's spotlight before we get ready for qualifying out at Daytona, the sport car circuit. Oh, yeah, there's more fun to come, and it's right here on X-Venture. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, race fans across the globe. X-Venture here live on Twitch TV, and we'll go ahead and pull into our driver's spotlight. Sprizzow's finishing 15th out there at the Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe. You entered week number 2 with 32 points. Probably not the finish you were looking for, 15th when it was all said and done here today after 8 laps there at Circuit de la Sarthe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's you've got a smaller field. You were hoping to do a little bit better than you did, but you took a wreck early and tried to finish it out strong. But this is a tough track, tough car.
Talk about a wreck. We had our camera up toward the front of the pack there as we saw quite a bit of action there in the top 5. So tell us, where did it all go wrong for you?
Coming into I think the last turn, I wrecked, but the real damage for me was trying to get into the pits. It's a difficult pit. And where Tismo actually clipped me coming into the pits as well, because quite frankly, neither one of us had entered the pits before. So that caused a lot of damage. And then we had, it took us about 2 minutes to get into the pits after that. So a little bit of an event.
A little bit of an event, which can tend to happen out here at a circuit where maybe you don't spend a lot of time at. I mean, it's not something that you'll see in the hoppers often. And then, of course, when it comes to league races, it shows up sparingly. It doesn't often hit the schedule, as we talked to Sperzaus here in the driver's spotlight. So you talked about how the grid is smaller here today versus maybe ordinary weeks of the Forza Spec Racing Series, so you had high hopes there. But what about the Le Mans circuit? Were you pretty excited about this one? And is it a track that you have down pat, or did the lack of that factor in a little bit here?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, this is a tough track to practice on given the length. But, I think it's really difficult with the car as well. This is a car that is difficult and temperamental, and you need to tune it to get it right. I've used a different tune across every single track now at this point, and not just tweaks. You're talking about radically different tunes. I think, as you've seen, even with the leaderboard, I know, Huracan and McQueen had some challenges up there at the front today. So it's a difficulty driving the car. So it's the setup, it's the length of the track, it's all those things sort of mixed together.
Yeah, we heard drivers talking about the weird little nuances of the EB110 in week number 1, talking about braking and the tendency for the vehicle to understeer as we were out there at Watkins Glen and Suzuka last week. And now we've got Daytona, the sport car circuit. So you were talking about having a different setup for each of the 3 tracks so far. But I imagine things have got to radically change again here for race number 4. I mean, you're going from Le Mans to Daytona, which has not only the banked portion of the track, but then you come off the banked portion into the infield. So different setup again?
Oh, yeah, for sure. In fact, I used my own setup on the first 3 races of the series, as difficult as that was for me to try and get a base tune down. And I have not been able to get a tune down for Daytona, so I'm going to use a McQueen tune and see how it goes.
Right.
Obviously, I had no chance I'm going to run as fast as he does, but if it works for him, it's got to be okay for me, right?
It's the secret sauce. If you've got the McQueen tune, you're good. You're golden. Top 5 guaranteed.
Yeah. Your lips, my ears. Sure.
Sperzaus, great chatting with you. Better luck here out at Daytona.
Appreciate it. Thanks, bud.
All right, let's go ahead and bring we've got another driver in our driver's spotlight. Let's go ahead and bring in Grim. And Grim, you too probably looking for a better finish out there at Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe, finishing 16th behind Sperzaus, just in front of our newcomer AC Vogue.
Yeah, I was running pretty well for a second. I was honestly pretty impressed with my qualifying time. I was surprised. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Mortismo started gaining on me, and then Sperzaus was right there. Then I think I let the fear get a hold of me. Then I noticed my driving definitely went down too. So, combination of a lot of things.
Okay. Well, what about your expectations for this track? Was this something that you kind of were hoping that you would be able to maximize your potential at, or were you already kind of expecting this one to maybe be a throwaway for you here in season 36?
Funny enough, I thought I was going to do a lot worse than I did. Because, I didn't finish in a great spot,
right,
but I held on in a pretty decent position for most of the race.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I didn't actually practice this track until we did our practice session.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did a quick tune. I know a lot of the guys are running no aero at all, so I just did that, tweaked around one of my tunes from Watkins Glen, and honestly, the car's driving really nice. I got that clean lap in my open lap in qualifying, and I honestly wasn't expecting that. That was the first clean lap I'd gotten at this track ever.
So here we go from Le Mans out to the sport car circuit of Daytona. Sperzaus telling us, obviously, that there's a pretty drastic change in the vehicle setup going out to this track. How do you prepare for that, and especially how do you prepare for turn number 1, knowing how chaotic that can get very early on in the race?
I like to take turn 1 on the very first lap as cautiously as I possibly can, just always. It might cost me a few positions here or there, but better safe than sorry. Funny enough, I'm actually running the same exact tune that I ran at Le Mans and to Daytona. I practiced that track with this tune earlier, and it was driving really nice. This car was.
Okay. Well, do you let that kind of dictate what you do during qualifying? Are you one of those drivers who says, I would rather kind of spectate how things are playing out in front of me going into a corner like turn number 1 here at Daytona and maybe qualify a little bit further back on purpose, or are you going for as quick as you possibly can here?
I promise you, wherever I qualify, It's not on purpose. Um, no, I do like to kind of see what's ahead of me, and I'm still a novice driver. Yeah,
Right.
it's what, my 5th season in FM4, but
Yep.
yeah, I've still got to get the hang of everything. Still learning all the track lines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember doing pretty well at this track in the F100 season, and I like this layout. I like this track. I just gotta stick it out to the end, you know.
There you go. That's all you can do is not only race clean here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but just see your way through to the checkered flag. Don't give it up. No matter how bad or how good you're doing, stay out there and just make every lap a learning opportunity. Graham, great chatting with you. Best of luck here at Daytona.
Thank you, Dustin.
All right, so there we go. We talked to Sprazows, Grimm. Now they're getting into the lobby. 19, make that 18 drivers. I count as the 19th person in the lobby, but now up to 18. So we're picking up one additional member on the track, and as I look through to see who that might be, nobody's name is jumping out at me. Let's see, Mortismo, Modern Weapon is there, Cratrium is there, Barney is there, McQueen, Born as Ghost. I'm not sure who it is, but whoever it is, adding that much more fun and uncertainty into turn number one. And of course I say that, but again, the Forza Spec Racing Series, a bunch of guys and gals who are very committed to clean racing. So while they still have, a lot of them still have a learning curve to which they are working with, as Grimm tells us, you know, he still considers himself a novice here in the league, even though he's been in for quite some time. And I don't blame him. I mean, it takes a little bit to get yourself up to a level of skill that you can be confident with and that you can then apply to each of these seasons. And really, the learning curve is that much more exasperated here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, because just as soon as you get familiar with a car through one season, then you jump into another season in an entirely different vehicle, which could be on another side of the performance index spectrum. And by that I mean the vehicle performs in a much lesser or much greater amount of horsepower, cornering, straight line speed, acceleration, and all that. So trying to find your groove here can be a little tricky, but with time, you should be able to pick up on a few things and get better and better. So again, if you want to take part here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and even if you do from this point forward, you're not going to be in the running for the championship. But as I always say, it sets you up nicely for the next season. You're familiar with the guys and gals who are out on the track. You're familiar with the format of the league, and you understand how everything works night in, night out, week after week for 5 weeks of racing, taking your top 4 in terms of points. 100 points are up for grabs every single week in terms of that top spot. Then it works its way on down from there. Here we go. Out at Daytona at the Sport Car Circuit, LSC and Barney will be the second off the line, following LSC and Buck, who will be the first to lead them into turn number 1. And again, all the vehicles are ghosted, at least in relation to one another. We're seeing LSC and Barney here in a solid state, but as soon as they start to approach each other, they can be transparent and move through one another that way to continue on and try to set their best lap time. In through the international corner, here comes LSC and Barney with that beautiful, again, light speed endurance motorsport title livery. Although I think they just go by light speed esports team or something to that effect. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I see it right there. Light speed esports. Huh. I'll be able to say it at some point. All right, so here they come back out onto the oval. The tri-oval, I should say. The triangular oval. Grimm saying, hey, don't take my finishing position in qualifying to suggest that I was sandbagging to put myself on the grid where I want. Where I qualify is probably about where I deserve to qualify. Man, if I was racing, I'd be at the complete opposite. I I have a tendency to be one of those who's like, I want to lurk toward the back of the field, and so I might purposefully sandbag during qualifying just so I can have one of those back spots. That way I can navigate around some of maybe the incidents very early on in the track, or very, very early on in the race. But that's me. And so a lot of these drivers are of the other thinking that, you know what? I'm out here to be competitive. I might as well be competitive not only in the race, but in the qualifying as well. So the strategy definitely at play. What we don't see here throughout the first 8 races of each Forza Spec Racing Series are pit strategies coming to play. However, we should see that factor into race number 9, that final race in the week 5, which here in season 36 happens to be out at Monza for 45 laps, and that's when the pit strategy will have to you'll have to account for that. And I'm back after a little bit of a bio break there. Sorry, as we've been riding here with McQueen for quite some time. I think he's now come across the line here on his third and final lap. 1:45.623 is what he's come up with, and maybe this is the third lap. I thought maybe he had already finished. He has not. So one more shot at it through the international corner here in the infield of Daytona. AMS Unicon currently with the second quickest time. Craytrim, then Mortizmo, Slipstream, and Funtang. Drex back there in 7th right now. Here comes Craytrim, who is again, or Fox Jason D, who is ghosted there with McQueen. As a matter of fact, we've got a 4-way bumper-to-bumper traffic jam here through this portion of the track, the latter part of the infield, before getting back out on the tri-oval and onto the banked surface. Interesting enough, Grim saying that he's going to go ahead and keep with the same setup that he had out at Circuit de la Sarthe. And of course, it's all a matter of preference, really. If the car feels good for you and your driving style, then yeah, why tinker with it? Coming up to the bus stop is McQueen. Let's see how clean he can keep it, trying to hold on to another clean lap here on the third qualifying run, and it looks like all 2 tires, or at least 2 tires, all 2 tires, there's 4 tires, Dustin. It looks like at least 2 of them staying within the line, and now up onto the banked oval he goes here, turn 3, then 4 of the up the tri-oval, back toward the start-finish line, and let's see if he does better than McQueen's, or excuse me, does better than his own time of 1:45.623. He does, a 1:44.903, a sub 1:45. Well done. AMS Unicon looks to be back on row number 1, opposite of McQueen once again. And across the line will come Unicon. He's going to do some acrobatics for us because apparently his third lap was just a wash. Beautiful. I'm sure Bugatti is very proud. Can you imagine if you're one of the, you're one of the people over at a vehicle auto manufacturer, and perhaps you're seeing esports, virtual motorsports for the first time, and then you see one of your iconic vehicles go cartwheeling across the infield at Daytona for fun. I think that's going to be just about everybody as I look up at the top there in the ticker. We had 18 drivers inter-qualifying, the 3-lap qualifying session, and we have, what, 1 or 2 more left to cross the line? Just one. AC, ACK. The Repsol livery there on Mortismo's car, and the new X-Venture sponsorship badging on that car. Well done. Joe Beardy posting up on the Forza Spec Racing Series Discord. Enjoying a brew in between races. And now here comes the AI as we're just waiting for ACK to finish out qualifying. He's about, I don't know how far back he is. Let's see. He is now coming out of turn number 4 here toward the line, and that'll be the end of our qualifying session. Oh, he's going to, well, he's not even going to make it back. Not even going to make it back on that 3rd qualifying lap. Again. That's okay. You do you. I might have, actually. It's just a weird little glitch there of the lobby. LSEM Buck with a 147. A 147 goes to his LSEM teammate Barney. That's a dirtied 147. So back to the back of the pack you go, Barney. Yorkie man with a 148.847. That 148 is going to be better than Barney's 147. The slowest clean lap is always better than the fastest dirty lap. Born as Ghost with a 148.507, also dirty. Slipstream with a 148.516, a 144 there for McQueen. Good enough for the pole position. Craytrim at a 146. I think that'll be good enough for row number 2. Then 148 there by Modern. A 150 for Fox Jason D. Mortismo with a 147, a 149 for Raccoon, 148 for Funtang, 146 for Audrex. That'll put him on row number 2 next to Craytrim. Then it's AMS Unicom with a 145. That keeps him on row number 1 and P2. Sprazout with a 155 dirty, 153 dirty for Grim. Joe Beardy with a 152 clean. And Ack Vaj, 89 with a 222.342. Back there in 18th position. So all of our drivers getting themselves and their vehicles ready for one last spin here this evening. Race number 4 of 9 in season number 36. We wrap things up here after this one, heading into week 3 a week from tonight. Same time, same channel. X-Venture here on Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the time to tune in. Tune in a little bit earlier. We'll have some jams going. We'll talk a little bit about how things look entering week 3, because with that drop week rule in effect, we also, that's the way we present the points, is that we're accounting for the driver's worst week. So we'll see what the points look like heading into race number 5, which will be then the end of the first half of season 36. Then on that same night, a week from tonight, we will start the second half of season 36 with a race out at Sebring. First one will be Spa, then Sebring next Tuesday. Now I show 19 drivers, so we've added even another. It's going to be Fear the Fun, who apparently has gone ahead and hooked himself up with some allergy medicine and is going to go ahead and do a little spin out here at Daytona. He's probably thinking, what the heck? If this is going to be my drop week and I feel okay, let me hop in there. Which always makes things interesting, because even if it is your drop week, what you are effectively doing by participating is you're trying to make this an opportunity to steal points from somebody else. So Fear the Fun, while he may have a big old scratch on week 2 points out of his 5 weeks, assuming he can make it through the end of the season, he's trying to steal some points from other drivers here. It's like the very Dr. Evil-ish, like laugh and maniacal plotting going on there. Because that's Fear the Fun through and through. He's maniacal. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Let me go into spectate mode as all of our drivers are getting readied up. Just Fox, Jason D yet to go ahead and have the tick mark. And then we are going to do 17 laps. 17. And how many of those laps will be McQueen and Huracan fighting each other? How many? Let's hope all of them. And then maybe some other battling in the top 10, mid-pack. We'll be scanning. With this much racing, there's sure to be some other action out there on the circuit, and I'll be looking for it. Go ahead and put our camera here on Huracan. There you go, 19 drivers. All set up on the grid. Here comes the final countdown. Cue the Europe song. It's the final countdown. I would do it, except for then the VOD would be silenced, and I want to make sure that all of our folks who wish to see the racing action, maybe they can't catch it live, or it's the drivers themselves who want to watch back, make sure they can enjoy all of it in its full audible glory. Here we go, lined up on the grid, which is very interesting out here at Daytona because you're on the banked oval, and so these Bugattis might have a tendency to step the back end out to the left a little bit as they try to avoid sinking down toward the apron. And here we go, kick the tires, light the fires. Week number 2 is going to come to a conclusion here out at Daytona, but man, we've got 17 laps to go, and now into turn number 1, we've got cars that are sliding off into the background there. Here comes Huracan, who's trying to keep pace with RZ and McQueen heading up to International Corner, and man, McQueen is on a mission trying to get rid of Huracan as quickly as he can. Back behind Huracan is Cratrim, then Andrex, Mortismo, Modern Weapon, LSEM Buck, Food Tang, AP1 Raccoon, and Slipstream. Hook the left-hander back out of the tri-oval. And it really has me curious who's got their vehicle tuned for speed, who has their vehicle tuned for cornering, or who's maybe kind of got a nice little balance in between, as Huracan now about maybe a second back from McQueen at this point as they come roaring up to the pit, not the pit stop, but the bus stop. McQueen's going to run wide here at the beginning of turn number 1 for lap number 2. And it appears that Huracan, I don't mean to suggest that he just lets drivers do whatever they want, but it did seem like he allowed McQueen to kind of bring it back in. Last thing you want to do is continue to press on, and then the driver, when they try to make a recovery, you guys make contact, and there goes Huracan. He's going to slide it sideways, and oh, ay caramba, brings it back out on the track right out in front of Cratrim and Andrex, able to make a pretty good recovery, and yeah, I think he's okay. Lit the tires up. I don't think he bald spotted them. I think the tires are probably going to be okay, if not just a little bit warm. And now back onto the bank oval, turn number 1 and 2 they go. with Cratrim right there back in third, with Audrex hunting in fourth. Audrex, who was leading, or excuse me, out in front of Cratrim for the majority of the Le Mans race there for race number 3. Now finds himself looking at Cratrim, and he's going to have to try to make a pass. Audrex had 90 points coming into week number 2, and could use a lot more to keep pace with Udakan, who had 97 out of week number 1. Now out of turn 3, then turn 4, at least oval-wise. And across the line, very quick pace here. What was it, 140s that we saw, at least in row 1 and row 2 for qualifying? So they'll be churning through 17 laps relatively quickly. Oh, and Udakan! Gonna do his best lawnmower impersonation there, or impression. Through turns 2 and 3. He just kind of straight-lined it there as if there were no chicane at all. And doing his best to keep pace there with McQueen. Maybe wearing on him a little bit. And just a little bit too slow there with the rewind finger. So we see Udakan coming out of turn number 4. And now we go back to the live action. We've got a car that's into pit lane. Let's go take a look to see who that is. That's going to be 19th of AC, Ack. Into the bus stop. And slide it out into the grass once again. I don't know if maybe Udakan has either the wrong setup or he just doesn't have the vehicle set up that he would prefer here. Of course, he qualified just fine. So I'm not entirely sure what it is, but he is looking a little unlike himself very early on across the line, beginning of lap number 4. Into turn 1, they'll have some traffic and act coming up here. Oh, I don't know, maybe as they get ready to re-enter the tri-oval, and Udakan is pretending like turns 2 and 3 don't even exist. It was like deja vu there. And at some point, Cratrim's going to say, hey, you want to turn the wheel? You want to steer that thing a bit? And he's off the track once again. And oh my, we've got the... he's going to drift it. He's going to drift the Bugatti. How he even managed to get that thing back out on the track, I have no clue. It looked like he was going to go barreling into the tire wall through that hairpin, and yet he found a way to stay in second. I don't know. Cratrim's probably not fond of it. Drex falling back even further right now. Modern Weapon in 5th, Mortismo in 6th, LSCM Buck in 7th, and it's Food Tank, Fear the Fun, and Barney 8, 9, and 10 respectively. Behind them, it's Slipstream, Raccoon, Sprazows, Born as Ghost, Fox, Jason D. And let's go ahead and go to Born as Ghost in 14th position, as he's got there on his outside. That's going to be Fox, Jason D. Now it's going to be the inside through the mid portion of the bus stop, and just like that, Born as Ghost making a move up to 13th. Let's go to Futang in 9th. And to the X-Venture Rewind there with Born as Ghost picking up a spot. Fear the Fun. He's going to make like Udakan and cut the grass. Now in International, Fear the Fun to the outside. That's going to make room there for Funtang. Well done by Funtang. Here comes LSC and Barney. And it's going to be a double pass around Fear the Fun setting him back to 10th position. Oh, and Buck is just peeling off the track there in the Lightspeed Esports Bugatti. He makes a recovery. Now he's in 10th position. Holy smokes. What is going on out here? There goes Fear. Gonna scoop some turf up there in the Bugatti and bring it out onto the track. Fuentang now up to 7th. DWM Frog saying some wild driving tonight, at least for this race. That's for sure. RZ McQueen, our race leader, with AMS Unicon, having all kinds of little issues himself. He's in 2nd. Kracham in 3rd. Aldrex in 4th. Modern Weapon in 5th. And man, from 6th on back to 12th is quite the gaggle. Let's go to Barney in 9th, who did manage to, well, actually, that was his teammate Buck. Barney is now in 10th. Buck has managed to get back up to 9th. How there's no damage to Buck's vehicle is beyond me, and now here they go, making a move around. Well, they're gonna try to make a move. Both Barney and Slipstream in there. Excuse me, Buck and Slipstream, and now Buck is to the inside here at turn number 1. Barney, he makes a recovery. I don't even know what's going on anymore. What is happening? What's going on? Oh my gosh, and there goes Slipstream well off the track out of turn number 4. Oh, and then even more chaos up ahead of Barney. Let's go to Fear the Fun, who somehow we saw him in 10th. He's now in 7th. He's getting ready to make a move on Mortismo in the Repsol liveried Bugatti. There's so much happening. Out onto the back straightaway here at Daytona, and there goes Fear. Gonna give a high five to the concrete barrier before he goes through the bus stop, pick up a few passengers, and now back out onto the back straightaway. We've got another car which is exiting pit lane here at Daytona. That is Eck once again, and it would appear that we've lost one of our drivers here. AMS Unicon in 2nd, Kracham in 3rd. Let's go to Audrex in 4th, who seems to be closing in. He lost a podium there at Circuit de la Sarthe, and now let's see if he can try to get it back at least early on. Well, not really early on, almost halfway through this 17-lapper, and he's going to go ahead and kick the back end of the Bugatti out in the Ryzen car, and let's see here. Accelerates and into the left-hander. Oh, what fun. Got a few donuts to navigate around there into turn number 1. Kracham looked like he was going out wide. However, just set him up nicely there for the corner coming out of 1. And now here comes Drex to the inside out of International. And he's going to go right up under the right quarter panel of Cratrim. Avoids contact. And now through the infield they'll go. Up along the curbing. Our race leader continues to be McQueen, so nothing changing out there in front. You see Cratrim and Audrex here, the battle for 3rd. Modern Weapon in 5th. Let's go to Fear the Fun, who is in 7th. Again, Fear the Fun, who did not participate in our first race of the evening out at Circuit de la Sarre, trying to rip some points out the clutches of the other drivers here. This will be his drop week, but he finds himself on the backside of Muertismo with Funtang in 8th position. And just behind Funtang is Barney, LSCM Barney, in 9th. Then it's Buck in 10th with Slipstream in 7th position, or excuse me, 11th position. Fear the Fun tried to make it happen on Muertismo. Muertismo able to do a nice little defensive maneuver. A very acceptable defensive maneuver. Across the line, beginning of lap number 9. Fear the Fun, let's see if he keeps it on the tracks, the racing surface. He certainly does. Much better. Into 4. And look at this. They've got Modern Weapon, who looks to be slow coming out of 4. Now into the kink here, the left-hander. Into the hairpin. Fear the Fun to the outside. They'll go ahead and kick rocker panels up against each other. And here comes Fear the Fun. Gonna go ahead and look in through the window and say, hey buddy, how's it going there, Muertismo? Muertismo to the high line. Where Fear the Fun on the low line, he's got Funtang, who's maybe going to use that slipstream down there. Here comes Barney back in 10th. Now becoming a 4-way battle for 7th position. Make that 6th as Muertismo, maybe a little early on the braking. That or Fear the Fun was late and then able to work his way through the bus stop. That he does. And now Fear the Fun to 6th. Here comes Muertismo in 7th, but with Funtang trying to make a move. So Muertismo at risk of getting double passed. And Barney prepared to swoop in if he can. You see there, Fear the Fun, and then all of a sudden Muertismo, boom, drops back pretty quickly. And it's not that Fear the Fun did any late braking and then took advantage of the bus stop corners. No, it's just Fear the Fun had a really good line. Muertismo just, I don't know if he just did not want to go side by side through the bus stop and obliged to Fear the Fun making the pass, or if genuinely he just hit the brakes a little earlier than he either should have or wanted to. And then you see Barney out there almost reminiscent of what we saw Buck do, but he was able to keep it out on the track. He does kick up some smoke there coming through the hairpin, and he seems to have managed to bring it back into the track, staying in 9th position. He does. Buck's still back there in 10th with Slipstream in 11th. Let's go to Slip. Oh, Slipstream now dropping back big time. Well, not big time. He's still there, but not as close. Our race leader, it's still McQueen. Crossing the line now for the beginning of lap 11. Ercon in 12th, Cratrim in 3rd, Andrex, unfortunately, something's gone wrong with him. He falls back to 4th. Well, he's been in 4th, but he falls back by about 2 or 3 seconds. Modern Weapon in 5th. Fear the Fun in 6th. 7th is Futang. Let's go back to Mortismo. And there goes Fear the Fun with Futang. To the inside, Futang makes the move. And he'll be, well, nope, Fear the Fun has gathered it back. And now here comes Futang to the inside. These drivers very familiar with one another. Veterans of the Forza Spec Racing Series. And now they're going to go side by side through the infield. Careful, careful, easy does it. Fear the Fun, he slides out a little bit and then yanks the car hard left, which inadvertently or purposefully puts a big-time blocking maneuver there on Futang. Futang having to be on the brakes pretty hard to avoid that collision. And now here back out on the triangle for the 11th time. Appreciate you tuning in. Dustin Moore here on the mic with the call in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Week number 2 of season 36 here in the Bugatti EB110. 800, man, getting the numbers all mixed up. 587 horsepower, 461 foot-pounds of torque, 2,886 pounds of curb weight. Where I was going with the 800 is S800 class. Here, the Performance Index Forza Motorsport 7. Fear the Fun now drops back behind Futang, does the switch back, gets in front of Futang again. And so these two, a little give and take. 6th position, Futang to the inside, taps the passenger door side of Fear the Fun, sends him sliding a little bit. Nice recovery, and Futang probably getting off the throttle a little bit there, allowing Fear the Fun to recover. And there goes Mortismo off the track once again. Here comes Barney. It looks like Barney's got it. He does. So Barney now up to 8th, Mortismo to 9th. Buck will be back there in 10th still. Actually, Slipstream is up to 10th, getting around Buck, and now Fear the Fun's going to go wide. He looks to be double passed by Futang, Barney, and here comes Mortismo on the low line. Fear the Fun's all by himself up there. Goes ahead and makes the decision to drop it back down into the slipstream of Barney. And here they'll go, single file, lap number 12 out of turn 2, onto the back straightaway toward the bus stop. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Oh, Futang! Fear the Fun! They collide bumper to bumper. That's going to send Fear the Fun out toward the tire wall. No damage should have been collected there. And Fear the Fun gets out in front of Buck, who's coming through the bus stop. Buck's not going to be liking that, and now Fear the Fun up onto the wall and in front of Borna's Ghost. And Borna's Ghost is going to slide out of the apron into the infield. That could have been a lot cleaner. Yikes. We go back to the X-Venture Rewind. We're riding live here with Modern Weapon, who's now up to 5th position. LSE and Barney in 6th. And yeah, a little bit of a crash derby here. As you see, Fear the Fun getting into the back end of Futang as they entered into the bus stop. And with that, Futang drops back to 9th, Buck in 10th, Fox Jason D is 11th, Raccoon in 12th, and Fear the Fun, he's in 13th, and he might have just penalized himself there. It looks like he was kind of hanging out there into turn number 1. Let's go back to Udakan here in second position, and the distance between he and McQueen doesn't seem to be closing any. But with 5 laps to go, it's not out of the question. Make that 4 laps now here as to begin lap 14 of 17. This has been a crazy, crazy race. Cratrim still in third, where he's been for the entirety of this race. Audrex, who was on row number 2 for the start, he's still back there in fourth. And actually, Audrex, out of the top 10, top 11 drivers, he's kind of running solo right now. Modern Weapon in fifth, as he's gone ahead and dispatched Barney in 6th, Mortismo in 7th, Slipstream in 8th, and Funtang in 9th. Let's go back to Funtang, who is actually looking to snag two spots back. It's amazing how quick his recovery has been here as he comes out of turn number 1 here on lap 14, closing in on the back of Slipstream. Let's see if he can do it. And he even has Mortismo up there in 6th. Modern Weapon off the track through the hairpin. A comedy of errors, if you were to dub this race anything. I think that's what you got to go with. The only two who maybe don't fit in that category, McQueen and Cratrim, and then maybe even Udakan to a degree, even though he could be a little bit closer in contesting for first if it weren't for a few mistakes on his own behalf. But he's not too far off the pace with McQueen right now. McQueen trying to go back to back here, coming out at Suzuka in week number 1, a win out at Circuit de la Sarthe, and now trying to make it a third here at Daytona. There's Funtang. Let's see what it looks like heading into turn number 1. Could get crazy. And trying to make a double move. Makes contact. And there goes Mortismo. Just like that, Mortismo just shoots off the track. He's gone. Where'd he go? He's back there. He's just a bit back now at this point. And now here comes Funtang. He's clawing his way back up to 6th. He's got Modern Weapon in the Crystal Pepsi car, who's able to avoid incident there. Breaks and runs wide. Here comes Funtang. Now he's on the outside, coming back out of the tri-oval. Well done by Modern Weapon. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it hold for the remainder of the race, but at least makes one heck of a pass at this juncture. Oh my gosh. We need more cameras. That's what we need. There's just too much going on. And now here comes Funtang with Modern Weapon. Trying to hold on to 7th. He will for right now, but it looks like Funtang maybe has the run on him here into turn number 3. Just trying to look for the right line to make the move. He's going to opt for the high side right now. And there he goes. Come on, camera, keep up. Here comes Funtang on the outside, up along the wall, toward the start-finish line, beginning of lap 16. Funtang back up to 7th after that incident. 3 laps back with Fear the Fun. And now, out in front of him, in 6th, is Slipstream. Can he chase him down? And then Barney is not too far ahead, coming out of turn 2 and 3. And they've got one of the back markers. It looks like Grem that they're having to deal with right now. Udakan still in second position, so nothing's changed there. Grem not coming off the pace at all, which is forcing Slip to navigate cautiously. And now Grem goes ahead and peels off to the high line in through the hairpin before getting out in front of Modern Weapon. Oh my. We couldn't have asked for. DWM Frog said that our first race of the evening was pretty exciting. This one, in terms of the back and forth, and not just the competition out front, but what we've got here about mid-pack, I don't know that we could have asked for more. This is exciting stuff. I keep my eye on second with Udakan, who he continues to flirt with challenging for first, but here on this final lap, I don't know that he's going to be able to do it. It actually makes a mistake here, it would seem. Coming up to the hairpin, makes a recovery, and now finds himself well off the pace on this 17th and final lap. And that could have done him in right there with McQueen. Again, just half a lap away from going back to back to back here in season number 36. And had it not been for a mistake out at Watkins Glen, might very well have picked up the first 4 races. That win for Udakan there in race number 1 out of Watkins Glen might as well have been a courtesy. Let's go to Funtang back here in 7th. He is still challenging Slipstream for 7th, and he's got Ack there, the back marker, the backest of the back markers in the No Coast Brewing car. Gets out in front of him and gives him a little shove, and rightfully so. Ack was on the inside line. I say rightfully so in the sense that Funtang was probably not expecting him to take that line. It's not okay for you to just go ahead and kick anybody out of the way, but I think that was just a misunderstanding of who was going to be where. And now here through the bus stop, and unfortunately for Funtang, I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Slideways, there is the vinyl both on the front and sides of that Funtang EB110, and slideways he was for several portions of this race. And across the line, he'll go in 7th. A pretty good finish, all things considered. Modern Weapon in 8th, Buck in 9th. Muertismo will pick up 10th. AP1 Raccoon looks to grab 11th with Fox Jason D in 12th. Fear the Fun, again, I think he assessed himself a penalty, is back there in 13th. Whew. What a week. What a week. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute or so ad break. I promise you, again, you're not going to miss anything. It does support the stream a little bit. It allows me to also take a breather, record who finished where, and then we'll be back to the driver's spotlight to speak to anybody who would like to talk with us at the conclusion of week number 2, and then do a little bit of a preview for week 3, and then also talk about what our next stream is here on X Ventures. So be right back with us. I'm Dustin Moore. You're watching Twitch TV, season number 36 of Forza Spec Racing Series. I'll be right back. welcome back, folks, as we see Funtang cutting a rug here after week number 2 comes to a close here at Daytona in the Sport Car Circuit, or I don't know, it's something like that. Man, what a crazy, crazy race that was, coming off the heels of Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe, which was a lot better orchestrated, but at the same time as exciting. But it is McQueen who picks up the win here at Daytona to make that 3 in a row now after week 1's victory out at Suzuka in race number 2. Udakan goes ahead and grabs second position. And so that'll be 1 and 2 for those two in both races here this evening. And might as well make it Kraitram and Audrex, a carbon copy of that Circuit de la Sarthe race here at Daytona, with those two going 3 and 4 respectively. Then it was Barney, Slipstream, Funtang, Modern Weapon, Buck, Mortismo, AP1 Raccoon, Fox, and then it gets a little murky there because I think I had somebody drop out before I was able to record all 18 or 19 drivers out there on the track. So, man, just a crazy, crazy race. But don't get me wrong. Everything we saw was either incidental contact or just very good racing where you had so many cars in one spot that it was bound to be chaotic. So there was nothing about this race that should have you going, oh my gosh, this was a mess. No, actually, that was just really good racing all throughout the mid-pack. Great racing in the top 4 where there was no change in position, but still really good, really competitive. And of course, you had the back half of the grid, which those folks were doing their thing. So again, as is often the case, not only in the virtual world, but also in the real world, that mid-pack is where that action is. DWM Frog says, believe the last 2 races dates were wrong. Should be the 6th and the 13th. Is that correct? Probably so. Let me double check. Yep, you're right. For some reason, they're off on my schedule. So, pardon me. I don't know why that says October 7th and October 16th, because that would be a Wednesday and then a Friday. What that might be are some carryover dates from last season. So, man, got to fix that schedule up quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings that at least existed entering week number 2. This will all change based on how things go, and of course, based on the driver's worst week between the 2 weeks here. And even that can shift as we go on through weeks 3, 4, and 5. The one that you score the least number of points in, that's the one they drop. They keep the others, your top 4 weeks, and that's what counts toward your championship points. Let me go ahead and bring in Fear the Fun into the driver's spotlight. And Fear the Fun, you were doing such a great job. I had mentioned at the beginning of the race this was your opportunity to yank some points from some of the drivers since this was going to be your drop week anyway. And then at some point there with Funtang about a little bit more past the midway point, it all went wrong at the bus stop. You got tangled up with Funtang, and from that point you dropped back to 13th.
It's his fault. That's all I got to say.
Hey, I'm with you. Let's just blame it on Foon.
Every time. It's always ever going to be his fault. But no, I just wasn't expecting him to be a little bit early. The guy behind him, who I think broke at the right point. Foon broke a little bit early. Raccoon got inside of Foon. Foon was just trying to slow down to get to the bus stop safely. And I just didn't have enough room to stop or go anywhere, and I rear-ended him, sent him and myself off. And then going on to, I guess, will be NASCAR turn 3, I caught the wall, and Forza sticky glued me to the wall, and then I pulled off. I pulled off right in front of Bourne, and he destroyed my engine or half of my car doing that, or I destroyed his front end of his car, whatever. That's what happened.
Yeah, and we had seen earlier in the race you were challenging Mortismo for position. I think it was maybe 6th position, and had noted that you had a little bit of a later braking approach into the bus stop, which gave you the advantage there. You got around Mortismo, but as has sometimes been the case, or I should say maybe oftentimes has been the case here with you in the Forza Spec Racing Series, just not able to keep that consistency, and then that, of course, brought you back to the back of the pack, or back to the larger pack there at mid-pack. So I don't know. Is it the car that you're still trying to work with and trying to learn how to finesse, or Is it just getting a little bit of the jitters there? You're excited, you're feeling good, and the next thing you know, you find yourself making a few mistakes.
Honestly, it's just being my first race.
Yeah.
I mean, I did start first race last week.
Yeah.
But I kind of left early because right now it's the hockey NHL playoffs. And my team's the Tampa Bay Lightning, so they were playing at the same time the race was going on, and I was kind of juggling which one I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, that'll be my draft week. And it turns out this week my allergies have gone haywire. And earlier today I was every other minute. My eyes were watering, my sinus. I couldn't pay attention. I didn't think I was going to make it. I took a couple Benadryl about 2 or 3 hours ago. They finally started kicking, and I was like, I can make it.
Man, what a journey to get into race day here, and of course priorities. I mean, if your team's in the playoffs, that's what counts. There, as we're talking with Fear the Fun, coming out of race number 4, concluding week number 2 in the Bugatti EB110. So, with that said, assuming that everything's on the up and up, and you're able to make the next 3 weeks, you're gonna be able to make something out of this. I mean, you came into week number 2 with actually you weren't even in the top 20 because you had said that this was your first race. So I don't know. I mean, just gonna be in it for fun now moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not going for any kind of or whatnot. I'm just here to shake things up. Being a long time and being a assistant moderator to everybody here, I feel like I need to show up, and I didn't think I was going to be able to show up tonight for another reason, more personal. But it ended up working out pretty well.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. You mentioned that you're one of the point people. You're kind of the moderator here of the Forza Spec Racing Series, helping Slow Motion Fire, and of course you've got Modern Weapon, a longtime participant as well, who helps out oftentimes. But with that being said, I said at the top of the stream, Ali Tack, who does content for for Turn 10 Studios and the Forza Motorsport franchise. He had alluded to the EB110, the Forza Spec Racing Series, and said he was going to keep his eye on this one. What is it about the Forza Spec Racing Series that one has kept it running for so long, but then why is it so dang competitive?
Honestly, the thing that keeps it together is we're all good friends. Like when you get in here, everybody like friends. We try to reach out. We try to let people of all skill gaps and whatnot come in and play. There's no rules. Just, don't be mean. Don't be rude. Mm-hmm. Or if you are rude, do it lightheartedly, friendly, most of the way. And other than that, like it's not hard to be friendly. We're all people lovers of motorsports, virtual or even real life, like slow motion and modern. And one of the new guys, I cannot remember his name, just started. They all run a real life Lemons racing.
Yep.
There's just cool bunch of people that all get along. And can you repeat the second part of the question? Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think that was a pretty good ambassador-like message right there. I think you nailed it. Is that even if you're a stranger, you're a newcomer, hop in, have some fun, get some racing in, and know that the only thing that's on the line is just some bragging rights. And when that's the case, it's amazing how fun and how competitive it can still be. So well done, Fear the Fun, and Modern Weapon, who I know is also helping out here tonight in stepping in Slow Motion Fire's spot and making sure that everything runs smoothly here tonight. Anything you'd like to say before we wrap things up tonight?
No, man. I'm really glad to have you back for another season with us. Can't wait to do more. I like this season. I can't wait for next season.
Fear the Fun's like, man, I'm already out of the running for this one. Give me another season already.
Yeah.
All right, Fear. Right. Well, always great chatting with you. Have a great rest of the week.
Take it easy.
All right. He's already ready to go for season 37. He's like, Dustin, we hope to have you back. I don't know why I wouldn't be back. I mean, heck, we've been doing this for quite some time. Yeah, I missed a couple of seasons in between quite a while back, but man, I don't see why I wouldn't be here for season 37. So you don't have to pull my arm, Fear the Fun. That looks like it's all the drivers who are in our driver spotlight. Surprisingly enough, usually they're a bit more talkative than they were here this evening. Granted, we had I say fewer drivers, but we managed to, I think, get 20 at one point. or maybe it was just 19. I don't know. But still, a pretty good showing out there on the track. Not as strong a showing here in the driver's spotlight, which is okay. I understand. Not everybody wants to be Chatty Cathy every single week. Sometimes it seems like a good idea to hop in there, and other times maybe you just didn't have as good a race as you had hoped, and you don't want to talk to anybody. I don't blame you. Great job by everyone out on the track here tonight. Thanks to everybody who tuned into the broadcast, and for those of you, and there seems to be quite a few of you, everybody who checks out the video on demand here at twitch.tv/xventure and up in the video broadcast tab, watching those past broadcasts. Thanks for tuning in, even in the VOD. Always great stuff. And again, anybody who's watching us from Turn 10 Studios and the Forza franchise, thank you very much for hanging out with us here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. It was great racing, and, man, it's not going to stop. I mean, we've got Spa and then Sebring. Spa and Sebring. Do I have to repeat it again? Spa, then Sebring. It's going to be a great duo of races, and, yes, we are hitting that high point of the season. And that's not to say the high point of the entertainment. That just means we're at the high point, or at least on the downward slope there for the second half of season 36 when we pick up the race out at Sebring. And so things move pretty quickly here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. So if you're looking for a series where you can commit yourself 5 Tuesdays in a row, or maybe you can only do 3 or 4, well, then do that. They had some spots available out here on the grid. Get out here and race with these guys and gals. I know if we get all the folks who have been racing in FM4 as of late out on the track, we will have ourselves a full lobby like we saw back there in Season 35 on multiple occasions. I have no doubt we may see 1 or 2 of those here in the remaining races, because it doesn't matter if you're not in the running for the championship. Just get out here and have some fun. Get ready for Season 37. Get familiarized with the format, and at the very least, get yourself familiarized with some of the folks here that make the Forza Spec Racing Series as fun as it is. And it is a lot of fun, even for somebody who's behind the microphone and on this side of things, as opposed to in the car, racing, competing. It's just been a lot of fun, and it's the reason why I keep coming back season after season and seeing what these drivers are capable of doing. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. That it has. All right, folks. Well, that does it for me here tonight. Reminder, if you've got 2 hours on a Friday, which I know you're probably hard-pressed to find. You've got other things to do on a Friday, but if you've got nothing else going on, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so 2 hours before we started this broadcast here tonight, but if you've got those 2 hours starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday, we're going to be doing Hauling for the Weekend in American Truck Simulator, and I promise you it's a lot of fun. I'm actually behind the sticks on that one. I'm driving the truck, the big rigs, and yeah, I'm doing it in solo mode. It's not multiplayer mode, but you get to see the interesting, I don't know, the successes and the disappointments and the failures that I experienced. If I get those articulated axles and I'm crashing, it's just fun. It really is. So be here at 6 p.m. Eastern this Friday for another episode of Hauling for the Weekend. And I will say, although I won't say it with any degree of certainty, but I will say that I am looking to maybe do a Microsoft Flight Simulator event on Sunday morning, back when we used to do our regular Sunday morning block. As a matter of fact, Sundays used to be the mainstay here of the channel, and then Tuesdays were thrown into the mix, and now it's Tuesdays are the mainstay. Maybe we'll get in there on Sunday. You can follow me on Twitter, xventure, the same way that it's spelled here in Twitch. Follow me on Twitter, and then that way, if I do decide to go live, you'll catch it there. And then, of course, if you got me followed here on Twitch, and if you got your notifications set up, you'll get notified. But then if you have me followed at the very least, you'll find me in your follow channel section. It'll likely be about sometime around 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern, possibly, maybe even a little bit earlier, depending on when I wake up. But I'm kind of in that mode now here that it's fall, where I can do a little bit of streaming in the morning, and then I get off the stream, set my fantasy football roster, and then go watch some football. How about that? So we'll see. Again, hang out with me on Friday, and then you might have the answer by then. And at the very least, we get to do some trucking together, and that's always fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, you get to see my stupidity in action in a game that is a ton of fun. All kinds of fun. All right, folks, if you get any more racing action in, either here in Forza Motorsport or across any one of the other virtual motorsport titles on the PC or on consoles, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean, and more importantly here in today's age, stay happy, stay healthy. We hope to see you next time, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on Friday. X Venture on Twitch TV. Adios!